What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Sports Talk with Hawk here on the podcast. Welcome in wherever you are and wherever you are listening. If you're on Spotify, welcome to the channel. If you are on YouTube, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell so you can get notified every time a new episode goes live. It is 4 times a week. The goal is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This week it was Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, due to a couple of different things that happened in between there. But today we have the culmination of the draft pick value 3-part podcast series. So we have got 21 through 32 that we're going to lay out today, all the way down. And I think on a couple of them, you're going to be partially surprised. But on the other hand, you're going to be hopeful. And by hopeful, I mean if it is one of your teams, you're now going to be looking forward to what you can potentially do in the draft. So for those who may not have listened to the previous podcast, here is what we are doing. There is a draft pick value chart that was created by Jimmy Johnson when he came in and was the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. He assigned a point value to every single draft pick. And that point value is now used when trading picks, trading for picks, trading players with picks, etc. It gives you not necessarily a 100% factual view of what they can do, but this is used when you're doing draft trades. So the more draft capital you have, the more ability you have to make moves. And as you get to the later picks in the first round, the point totals taper off for your pick. So because of that, having a decently high draft capital at pick 25 means you have power to move up, or if you move back, your draft capital is just going to grow based off of what you will get in return. So here we go. Here we go. Pick number 21. We left off after giving you guys the Panthers last night, who I found out today, and you will see there is one team that is actually worse off in the draft than the Carolina Panthers. I know, I hear it. There's disbelief. I promise you, there is one team. One team. All right, let's jump straight into it. The Miami Dolphins are picking at number 21. They have a draft pick value of 1,229. 1,229. They have the 21st pick, the 53rd pick. They do not have a third-round pick. They do not. They do not have a fourth-round pick. Their next pick is pick 155, then 186, 199, and 239. So no third and no fourth-round pick, but they have their first and they have their second. But there really isn't much they're able to do. They only have 6 picks, not 7. Remember, each team starts out with 7 every year, no matter what. So right now, for a team that there's a couple questions. There are definitely a couple questions on the Dolphins team. Number one, what's the contract size for Tua? That's the first question, and the answer to that will decide what they do with that 21st pick in the draft. Now, 22nd, right behind them, is the Philadelphia Eagles. Nick Sirianni has been told, you've got a year. Get it right. Get us back to being relevant. Can't have another absolute collapse like this year. So what does he do? Well, they've got some draft capital to make some really good moves again this year. Remember last year, they absolutely raked Chicago to get Jalen Carter. Chicago pulled one of the dumbest trades there was. Jalen Carter was outrageously worth it, and who knows, this year, they may do it again. If I'm Philadelphia and Bears are sitting there at number 9, I'm like, let's see what we can get here. Like, the Bears organization seems to be one that doesn't know this draft pick value chart, and if they did, they would have actually probably been a little bit better last year. But nonetheless, so the Philadelphia Eagles select 22nd, but then they also have the 50th and 54 picks in the second round. They have 2 second-round picks. Then they have number 97, number 145, 170, 171, 178, 184, and 189. They have got 1,785 draft capital points. It's a lot of points and a lot of draft capital. So one of two things is going to happen. Either they're going to use the draft to try to strengthen some of the role players in the roster, or they're going to use this draft capital for players in trades. They need help in the secondary. Badly. Linebackers are okay. My guess is they're going to need an edge rusher and offensive lineman. But we'll see what they do. All right, picking 23rd is the Houston Texans. Now, this pick is actually from Cleveland, who we will do next. But the Texans have the 23rd pick. Then they have the 59, the 85, the 124, 128, 202, 220, 245, and 249. A total draft capital value of 1,343. So they're above the Dolphins. They have all the picks they need to be able to make a couple moves here. But I think DeMeco Ryans is going to stand pat, honestly. I really think he's going to stand pat. He likes the team he's got. He can draft a defensive tackle at 23. He's going to be able to get more skill players. And then he's going to be able to get those guys that you're going for the gems. 4 picks after pick 200. Go for the gems. Get the extra running back. Get the extra tight end. Get the extra linebacker, the extra offensive lineman. You're going to be able to fill out the roster easily and cheap because they can be aggressive in free agency with the 4th most, I believe it was 4th most cap space in the league. They've got the ability. Do not count out the Texans. All right, the Browns. I don't know what this organization is doing. I really don't. Okay, so they do not have a first-round pick. That was traded to the Texans. They also don't have a 4th-round pick. Right? Boom, boom, boom. Yep. They don't have a 4th-round pick. They do have 2 5ths. They have 2 6ths as well. And then 2 7ths. Their total draft capital value is 596 points. The Panthers was 983. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what that ownership group, the organization, their cap is going to go way up. They're going to have to really play with some contracts. It ain't going to work well. I don't think it's going to work well. I think you're sitting at a point, if you're the Cleveland Browns right now, you got to try to figure out what in the world to do here. What in the world to do? You've had 2 years of Deshaun Watson. It's been garbage. You made the playoffs without him. I don't know what deal could potentially be reached. Better yet, put it this way. I don't know what team is desperate enough to make a trade for Deshaun Watson. The injuries have piled up on his legs and his feet. He messed up. He was a rising young quarterback. He messed up, and now he has messed up too much. If he doesn't get healthy, he will be the guy that basically was able to cheat making money, got money, but will never get another dime after that. So he better be saving his $245 million and better not have any more lawsuits to go along with it. That's where it's at right now. That's the reality. So the Browns have 596 draft capital points. They're going to have to use their second and thirds are going to have to hit, and they're probably going to have to find some gems because their cap situation is about to change and not change for the good. All right, number 24, the Dallas Cowboys, 1,265 draft capital points. They've got the 24, the 56, the 87, the 173, 213, 231, and 242. They got some solid picks to be able to fill in the holes that are on the Cowboy team, which are not a lot of them. But what's more concerning is, what is he going to have to do? What is he going to have to do, Jerry Jones? What's Jerry Jones going to have to do with the offense? I think they need a running back. Trayvon Henderson stayed at Ohio State. I thought he was going to be the number one back taken. He's going to have to if I'm Jerry Jones, Tony Pollard is not a lead back. He proved that this year. I'm going either in the draft to go get one, or I'm signing a running back that is a free agent. Even if it's one that may have some injury issues. Josh Jacobs, Austin Eckler. I'd sign those guys. You've got Tony Pollard as a backup, but you just need something better than Tony Pollard. So not a bunch, not an outstanding number, but the Cowboys do have picks. They got their 7, so they should be able to continue filling in different areas in a very cost productive way. All right, here is your first surprise sitting down here. This is a big one. This team shocked everybody. This team shocked everybody when they won their wild card match, especially in the way that they did, and took the NFC champions to the brink. That's right, the Green Bay Packers. Guys, I can't believe it. The Green Bay Packers have 1,913 draft capital points. And here is why. They've got a second rounder from the Jets for the Aaron Rodgers trade. They got a couple compensatory picks for receivers they lost. They have got 3, 7, 11 picks. 11 draft picks in this year's draft. 11. They have the 25, the 41, the 57. So 1 first, 2 seconds. Then they have the 88, the 91, 2 thirds. The 126, the 168, the 203, the 216, the 242, and the 251. Listen, Gutekunst, LaFleur, they got some capital. They got some draft ability here to go out and get maybe experienced role players. I believe Bakhtiari is going to be back. We got Corey Linsley, who was their center, that ended up being picked up by the Chargers. He's retiring. Ryan Jensen announced yesterday from the Bucs, longtime great center. He is retiring. The Packers don't necessarily have a ton of holes to fill. They're going to have a new defensive coordinator, Mike Haffey from Boston College. Should be a little bit more aggressive style of defense. So I'm excited to see what they do, because the Packers, to me, need to be like the Rams were last year now. They've got the pieces in place. The pieces are obviously there. Okay? They got the pieces in place. Now they kind of just need to cement who they are through another draft. They may go through a sophomore slump. That's possible. But now they really need to show what they can do. Jordan Love is going into his second season as the starter. We'll see what happens. Austin Dillon is out, most likely. They could run with Emmanuel Wilson, which I like. He was the rookie they drafted last year. They'll probably draft another one. My guess is Hemby from Maryland. I think he fits their offense pretty well. But the Packers have a lot of value. They got a lot of ability, and it's going to matter. The other third-round pick they got, so the second is from the Rodgers trade. The third-round pick is from the Bills for the Rasul Douglas trade. So kudos to the Packers. Made the playoffs. Trades worked. Did what they were supposed to do. Gives them a lot of value, and they're picking 25th. They can trade up with anybody. They can trade up. Go get their guy. They want another receiver, they can go get him. They want a defensive lineman, they can go get him. Want a corner, they think the corners are going to start coming off the board, they can go get them. They got options. I love it. All right, number 26 is the Buccaneers with number 26, the number 58, the number 89, 127, 204, 244, and 255. A total of 1,221 points on the draft pick value chart. This is an interesting one to me. I don't know what the Buccaneers' plan's going to be. I mean, I do. The problem is I don't want to admit that I know what they're going to do. What they're going to do is status quo. Just going to run it back. Do it again. Everybody that's old is a year older. Hope that the youth can make up for getting older. They lose Ryan Jensen, which isn't good. That's going to be a need. They're going to have to fill the center spot, and honestly, that may be what they do through the draft. Their position it's odd. That team is 500. It's a 500 team. It's not a great team. It's not a bad team. It's barely below a good team. It's an okay team. They shouldn't have won the division last year. They shouldn't have beaten Carolina in Week 18. The Saints should have been in the playoffs. Like, this team is that bad, yet was in the playoffs. So they've got holes to fill. They got to work on a couple different things. I still don't trust Todd Bowles. His record speaks for itself. He's not a winning coach. So the record kind of just speaks for itself. It's what Tampa Bay does. I don't think they're going to be aggressive. If I were them, I would trade some pieces. If you don't get Baker Mayfield, I would try to start over. Why not? Why not? What have you got to lose? If you can't re-sign Baker Mayfield, why not just start over? Mike Evans isn't going to want to come back with a nobody. So you're going to lose Mike Evans if you lose Baker Mayfield. Yes, this is still, we're now a month away from free agency starting. Okay. But the reality is, they may have to make that move, make that call. But status quo will be good for them if they can get Baker and Evans to come back. All right. Number 27 is Arizona. We went over their draft pick capital in the first episode. So that is number 27. Number 28 is the Buffalo Bills. They have the 28, the 60, the 99, the 129, excuse me, the 159, the 162, the 192, the 197, the 206, and the 246. Total value of $1,198. The number of picks is 10. So for an organization, legitimately, for an organization that is picking in the bottom 6 picks of the draft, that's some pretty good capital. You got 10 picks. If you hit on 6 of them, guess what? You're really good. You're golden. That's what you need. Buffalo needs this draft to work out. I don't know what they're going to do with Diggs. How do I put this? Teams are probably going to want to trade more of a conditional pick for Diggs instead of having to trade this year because they're going to want him more than 1 year. It'll be the Calvin Ridley with Atlanta trade, But I really do believe that I think moving on from Diggs may be the best thing that they can do. Gabe Davis is a free agent. Joe Brady's going to come in and bring his offense he needs. There are a lot of solid receivers in this draft. If they could get Keon Coleman from Florida State and Xavier Worthy from Texas, both of those receivers, and then you've already got Khalil Shakir, by the way. Just keep this in mind. You've got Shakir. So you already have Khalil Shakir. You've already got a slot guy. You already have 2 tight ends in Knox and Kincaid. You've got James Cook in the backfield. So really, receiver is the only place where you're going to really be looking. And if you're looking to save cap, which Stephon Diggs is a $24 million hit this year, if you're looking to save cap, you may be able to trade Diggs for a third and a conditional first-round pick based off of you get a first if he resigns, et cetera, et cetera. Which that team may or may not try to do immediately. Diggs' agent is going to try to do it immediately. That team may not try to. But that would be the condition. They may make that move. Diggs is it's a weird situation. He really went quiet late in the year, and I mean dead quiet. Drops, went dead quiet. Kind of reminds me of what happened with Harrison. See, late in Harrison's career, he went quiet. He wasn't nearly as dynamic. He was short. Speed was his main, thing. As the corners got faster, he got worse. Diggs, if he can't outrun the corner, he doesn't have much. He doesn't have the size. A lot of these corners coming out of college this year are 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2". They can body Diggs up pretty good. There are plenty of teams that need Stephon Diggs. Plenty of teams that could really use him. But I'm anxious to see what they do. Moving off of him, once again, I'll say this. It's going to be early in free agency. You got to get to a team before they spend their salary cap. You got to. What if you go to Arizona? What if you go to Arizona? Now, I've said Arizona for multiple different teams. Arizona has a bunch of draft pick capital. They are in a good position. They're sitting fourth. They want to redo the wide receiver room. If they don't like Hollywood Brown, trading for Stephon Diggs, Buffalo could say, no, we want that first round. We'll do a conditional third if he resigns. Could easily happen. Buffalo then gets the 27th and the 28th pick. But Arizona could get Stephon Diggs and Marvin Harrison Jr. Wow, that's a wide receiver duo. So there's options. All right, next. The bandwagon team of the year, the Detroit Lions, picking 29th. They have 1,324 draft pick capital value points. Their picks are 29, 61, 73, 92, 163, 207, and 247. All 7 picks, straight across the board. They've got their defensive coordinator. They got their offensive coordinator. They got the majority of their team that's going to be back. I trust they're going to take a defensive end unless they get one in free agency to be able to go on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson, because they got to get that line pressure a little bit better, or they go secondary. One of those two options. So there's the line. Listen, the Lions, nobody knows what they're going to do. Dan Campbell, go for it. The team's behind him, and so is the city. That's the thing, is he's got all the support there is that's needed to be the style of coach he is. They've hit on draft picks. They've made trades. I wouldn't. They've only got 7 draft picks. If you don't like what is there at 29, trade back. Get more. They're a team I could see that may trade out of the first round, be like, nobody's really worth it. Maybe you go to a team that's got 2/3, get 2 third-round picks for your, late first. Give yourself some mid-round value where you like getting these guys. It's an idea. It's a thought. We'll see what happens. All right, number 30, Baltimore Ravens. The team that never misses on a first round pick, and this year it's number 30. Then they have 61 and 73 and 92. Or sorry, wrong one. 91. Got that one wrong. 91. My fault. 30, 62, 91, 131, 134, 164, 226, and 248. Total value is 1,140. The Ravens are good. The scout team's good. Their developmental team is second to absolute none. They're really good with this. Really good with this. I don't think there is an issue with the Ravens. They do have free agents that are coming open. Patrick Queen is a big concern. Big concern. I don't think they're going to be able to re-sign him. I am with those that believe he's going to either Washington or Seattle. I fully agree with that. I think he may. I think a couple players may follow Mike Macdonald to Seattle. He may be able to get 3 Baltimore Raven defenders in Seattle. So I do like that projection at this point. But this is a team that drafts really well. This is a team that scouts really well and develops one of the top 5 developmental teams there is in the NFL. It's the Baltimore Ravens. It's a dang good organization. All right, 2 teams left. Kansas City Chiefs have 6 picks this year. 1,090 draft capital value points. 6 picks. Number 30, the number 62, the number 31, the number 63, the number 94, 132, 158, and 172. My guess is receiver, linebacker. This is a team that I could see potentially going after a Barrett Carter from Clemson, if he's still on the board. Or they go receiver, maybe safety in the second round. Chris Jones is probably gone. Chris Jones is probably gone. Where he goes, I don't know. I saw a projection today that said the Texans may make a big push for him. I don't know if you want to bring him into what Houston's doing. That's kind of where I'm leaning with that. I don't know if you want to bring him into what they're doing. I don't think he signs with the Buccaneers, even if they offer a bunch of money. Obviously, I'm not sure about that, but he wants to go to a team that can win. The Texans, that projection makes that defense lethal. Let me be very clear. It makes that defense lethal. But I don't see it. I don't see him gelling with what the Texans culture is currently at or where it's going underneath DeMeco Ryans. Now, wow. Sorry about that. Whoa. Something went down the wrong pipe. Holy cow. Okay. Trying to get my breath back here. Jeez. I do not know what that was, but I apologize. That is how you know this is all live. Woo! All right. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, Chris Jones. I could see him going to Jacksonville, especially if they can re-sign Josh Allen. That is a defensive line that could use him, and a defense that honestly needs a core defensive player. The Colts for years had the edge rushers, but didn't have the tackles. Like the tackles were bad, okay? And we kept running through. Now, Raheem Brock was a solid player. He was a 279-pound defensive tackle when we played him at that position. He wasn't built for it. We did miss, the Colts did miss on a lot of draft picks at defensive tackle. We had a lot of high hopes. But what was the year we won? We had Booger McFarland. We got bigger. We tried to sign Corey Simon, the longtime Philadelphia Eagle defensive tackle, but he never did anything because he was injured. The Jacksonville Jaguars are sitting at that point. They need to make a move because it's not that their Super Bowl window is closing, it's that the Texans are getting that much better. And if you are afraid that the Texans are going to get Jones, you go get him. Or you go get Kinlaw. Kinlaw from the San Francisco 49ers is going to be cheaper. And he would work with the Jaguars as well. But Kinlaw, I think, would be better for DeMeco Ryans and the Texans culture. I think Doug Peterson would be able to very simply and very easily get Chris Jones to play in Jacksonville. And I think they need a player like him. So there's that. So the Chiefs will have holes to fill. They can't keep everybody, and it's just not gonna look the same. All right, last but certainly not least, the San Francisco 49ers. As usual, they have got a bunch of 5th, 6th, and 7th round picks. They have a draft capital value of 1,233. But take a listen to the picks that they have. These are the draft picks they have right now. Okay? They have got the 32, 64, 95, 98, 125, 133, 166, 176, 214, 215, 236, and 250. Guys, seriously? That is a grand total of 12 picks. The 49ers and Rams. Yes, we did the Rams in the last podcast. The 49ers and the Rams are two teams. They're consistently winning, yet have all these draft capital value points. They do have all these draft capital value points, all these draft picks. These are the teams that continually dominate in the NFL. Absolutely just completely dominate in the NFL. And because of that, I mean, just look. Coordinators get taken away, head coaches get taken away, coordinators get taken away to be head coaches. They get compensatory picks out of it. They lose assistants left and right and this and that and this and that. Yeah, compensatory picks. The NFL rewards teams for creating coaches and for losing coaches that improve their position. Raheem Morris, defensive coordinator, is now a head coach. They get a compensatory pick for losing him. The 49ers got a compensatory pick this year for DeMeco Ryans being hired as the head coach. It's awesome. It is awesome. So there's the draft pick capital value all the way through. We have now done 1 through 32. There is all the information. I will link the website, and it does update. They update roughly once a week. They'll update more often through free agency, and as compensatory picks come in, they update them as well. So this is as of right now before any trades or the league year opens. I will link the website down in the description. Go ahead and head there, check it out, and keep track of it yourself. I will often reference it as we lead up to the draft, and as things roll around. I will definitely be mentioning it and keeping tabs on it. But guys, that is the conclusion of the 3-part podcast for the draft pick value chart. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I got some fun stuff, as I said, for next week. We're going to be going through and we're going to do a Mount Rushmore. We're going to do a Mount Rushmore of the different sports. It's a game that you can play with your friends. Try it during halftime of the Super Bowl. Have some fun with it. See where you agree, disagree. Everybody has their preference. Unless it's egregious, don't make fun of them. But we're going to go over that, and then we got another series that I'll do next week as well, which will probably be 2, maybe 3 podcasts as well to finish out next week. Guys, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this 3-part series. Looking forward to next week. Have a fantastic weekend this weekend. Be safe, and I will see you guys on Tuesday. Until then, for Football Talk with Hawk, actually, Sports Talk with Hawk. See, I'm not even used to this yet. For Sports Talk with Hawk, I'm Hawk, and I am now out.